Here we are at Odessa Canyon. This is in Yermo, California. It's a 7 out of 10 difficulty, which I think 8 and above is like pretty much guaranteed body damage and buggy time. But this one is kind of known for body damage. One of the reasons why, as you can see, is it's so tight. It is a narrow canyon, and there's rocks in there and things you have to negotiate and navigate to get around, and I'm pretty sure I would have damaged my fenders if I had my factory fenders on here. Very sure I would have, but instead I made it through unscathed, and the only bonks and scratches I got were on the one slider on the driver's side and skid plate on the driver's side. So just a few times bumping, but for the most part nothing. So I feel like I got pretty lucky because I saw some bigger Jeeps go through here and they really struggled. But well, anyway. But I just love this trail, and I'll be honest, it was more than a little anxious going through here, you know, especially because of the videos I'd watched and how much I saw people struggle in here. So the thing is when you're going through something like this, like once you start it and you navigate something difficult, I mean, there's no turning back. I mean, you can, but now you're going through the difficult thing the opposite way that most people run it. And so something like this shouldn't be taken lightly, and like watch as many videos as you can so you can kind of see what you're doing. Some of the videos I saw were people filming from the outside, and, you know, I don't do a lot of stopping. I just tend to just keep rolling. There was one spot in here where I did get out of the Jeep and look, and it was mostly just to determine how wide an obstacle was. So, like, should I go to the right or to the left? But well, anyway, I mean, it's a nice trail. It's a nice trail. I mean, I'm sure it's very dangerous in the spring, especially if there's a big rain or something, but it'd be very interesting to try to do this with some water, like a foot of water or something. You know, nothing coming up to drown anybody, but just enough to like be like a waterfall where you couldn't quite see the rock perfectly underneath everything, and it'd make everything a little bit more slippery. I think that'd be interesting. Something else I'd add is that you know, most people, depending on your comfort level, I mean, you should be running this trail of this level, you know, with one or more people, more than one Jeep, just in case. But I'm pretty well equipped, and I generally am not like a, you know, I must do this or at all costs kind of person. So I'm not going to be sitting there smoking the tires and, you know, breaking axles just to get up and over something. I'll pull line or, you know, do other stuff so I can safely navigate it. I'm getting to the age where it's, you know, too old to be horsing around trying to fix something out 30 miles from everything and no cell phone signal. So, but if you do come and you are the variety that likes to just feel like you have a chip on your shoulder to prove something, just know that, you know, nobody else came down this trail while I was on it. I was on there on the weekend. There was a guy that looked like he had looked at the first obstacle or two and turned around and decided to exit because it was probably too much for him and his, I think it was like a Toyota pickup truck with a, you know, the stuff for the bed so you can have a rooftop tent back there, and you know, kind of more of an overlander. And this is really not, this is a more serious trail, but he made a wise choice if, you know, that was it. But it looked like a pretty big Toyota, but you know, it'd be also just terrible. Most of these places where it's hard, it's like there's no place to pass. So if you break down or stuck in the middle of this trail on one of these hard things, it's like anybody that comes down the trail behind you is just going to be bottlenecked. So there's that. But you can just, it's just beautiful here. I love being out west. I love this canyon. It offered a lot of challenges. I was nervous the whole time. Even here, because even though I'd watch videos, you know, most people don't include the whole section. They only do just the little parts where they stop and get out, and everybody watches one person squeeze through a rock or something and get up and over a ledge or come down a waterfall or whatever. But so you don't know everything that's on the trail for the most part, and this is a pretty good taste of what Odessa Canyon has to offer. I think when we did this, I was aired down to 12 psi. If for some reason I felt like I needed a little bit more traction, then I would have gone down to 10, but 12 is usually a pretty good number for anything that's hard. But I'm pretty casual with going down to 10 too for hard things. So anyway, that's what I was aired down to, in case anybody was wondering. Just look at all these rocks and the sides of the walls and stuff. I mean, this is just a beautiful canyon. I mean, if you're in the area and you're there to Jeep, I mean, this is definitely worth doing. Even if you just pop in just to do this, and there's some mines out in front of it, which are really kind of cool, and I show some of that at the end here, because when we were going through there was like a school field trip or something right to that part, because that's fairly easy to get there with the kids and the teachers and whatnot all hiked in. But there was lots of kids in and out of all these places, but they got a couple little tunnels where you can kind of drive your Jeep through too, so that's kind of neat. And considering I just done Kramer Arch and then moseyed my little butt over to this, I mean, that was that was really neat. And then when we did this and then kind of looped around, did some other trails, and then came back, I was like, well, the kids are probably gone. We should go in there and check that out, because that looked kind of neat. And sure enough, and that's where we got to go in, and we walked around in a bunch of mines that were like, basically, it looked like they were mining out of like dirt or clay, and it was very slippery, dangerous, kind of slope floors, so it was very slippery and whatnot. All these mines are all a little different. That's the first one that was really just dirt, but they're pretty big, and they've got tunnels going every which way. I kind of wish I had some sort of like cleats, golf cleats or soccer cleats or something, just so that my feet would have a good grip in there, because that would be really neat to explore a little farther down. But maybe some other time. At least we had good flashlights. Not sure, but there's a part coming up where it seems like you're kind of done with some of this canyon stuff, and it's like, oh, you're climbing out for a little bit, and then you get there and there's like one narrow section, and it's right next to a pretty decent drop, so if like your tire were to slip or someone were to make a mistake, I mean, it's going to be pretty catastrophic. So it was like that part was kind of it felt sketchier than it was probably, I'm sure, but we were able to navigate that safely. I think that's coming up at some point here. I mean, not a lot to say, just, they're just tootling. You can just see it's like it never really, it's like, oh, it was a little wider for a second. Nope, now it's back to being tighter. And that usually means there's going to be some kind of rock coming up, because, once it's tighter, it's going to be a little harder to navigate. You can just see with the water rushing through here how crazy this would be. That's why just a little sprinkle, so we get like maybe 6 inches to a foot of water on the ground. That's all I'm asking. That would be fun. They probably wouldn't let me go in there. Like, it's too dangerous. I'd be like, just let me. I want to do it. Mostly because I had an experience, and this is in Vermont, but Chattagouay Trail. It's up in the mountains, and I went one time early in the spring, and of course I did not have any. I had my GoPro, but I did not have my GoPro batteries, so I didn't have a means to film it. But I went up that trail when it was like a raging river coming down from the spring melt, and it was absolutely crazy. And it just, every time I went through it after that, I was just like, it was so disappointing, because there was like no water, or, just barely any water. But to like basically just go up that trail when essentially it's like you can't even hardly see the rocks because there's so much water going over them, that was really cool. So that'd be a nice experience to relive again. So here we have a rock feature coming up, and it's a little crazy on one side. You can see it's kind of like got a cutaway where the water kind of dug in on there, and it's kind of a steep little climb here. So you can see I kind of like stuck my driver's tire off to the left there on that one little part that jutted out. And just climb right up. There's a couple planks in there. I can't hear it when I'm talking, doing a voiceover, but I did pretty good there. I did really good this whole trail. You know, judging from some of the videos I saw of this trail, it's like I was worried about my new fenders. In case anybody didn't know, I've got new Genrite fenders on there, and they were painted to match my Jeep, and they look absolutely great. I got that done at Off-Road Warehouse of Las Vegas, and Adam helped me there. And well, anyway, I was going through this trail. It's like I knew I wanted to do this trail, but it was just like, same token, it's like I got all this new shiny stuff on my Jeep and I don't want to muck it up. And from what I saw in other people's videos, it liked to touch fenders, and there was quite a few spots in there where it was pretty close. But luckily I was able to use my wheels and my tires to kind of help protect a little bit, and a couple spots where I kind of had some opportunities when I was leaning over a little bit, but in those moments I happened to do everything just right, and didn't put a scratch on any of my fenders, which is, you know, I don't know, it's not funny, but it's like my old fenders. If you saw my Jeep before, all four of my fenders from the factory all had little marks on them, and I'm pretty sure I would have touched stuff on the factory fenders in here for sure, because the wheels, you know, couldn't protect them because those factory fenders were sticking out farther than the tires. But I'm just kind of rambling. I was very happy that I was able to get through this and do a good job where the fenders stayed intact, and I only really touched on I think I touched the skid plate once and hit a slider once, and I think these little a down bracket for the arms for the rear axle that kind of sits down just a little bit. Metal Coke added that, and I think I clipped that just a little bit, but for the most part it's like I did pretty good. All the stuff that touched was stuff that's meant to touch things. Just look at the color though, the bright orange and browns and sand colors and, you know, whatnot. And then you've got like the dark green and the light greens with the different plants. It's really cool. Pretty blue sky. It's a really nice day. And those piles of rock that we just passed there too, those are all like mine tailings when they were mining in this canyon. And you just like kick the rock down into a pile, kind of like down into this, and the parts that didn't have gold or whatever they're mining for in here. It's like, look how narrow that looks. You just like coming up to it, it's like, ah! And it's like, we're gonna fit. You can see there's like no place to take a bypass. You either can do this or you can't. And I'm on 37s, BFG KM3s, and I have a 3.5 inch metal cloak lift with metal cloak skid plates, and I have LOD rock sliders and 12,000 pound winch, Warn winch. I think I remember seeing a couple guys with 35s come through here. But most of them had 37s to 40s. A lot of 2-doors. Buggies. Not really buggies, but you know. Jeeps that were set up to be like buggies. More serious crawlers. So something that I think about just a little bit is every time you see a rock or an obstacle, I don't necessarily do it. And it's like for me, it's like I just want to do the trail. I want to see pretty. I don't want to break stuff. I don't want to make maintenance happen faster. And so like you can see there, like I swung to the far left and I went around and drove on like tailings that had went down into that corner and smoothed it out. But you know, a lot of guys you'll see like they'll hit like every single rock they can because they're like, oh, I'm in a Jeep, I'm gonna hit this rock and I'm gonna, you know, be hard on my bearings or, you know, their suspension parts or their tie rods or whatever, you know, because they're just like slamming into every damn thing they have to. And it's like, you don't really have to do any of that. I don't know. I take it pretty easy. You can kind of see how damn slow I am. I drive like an old man that's older than I am even. So here's that one narrow part I was talking about where it felt really sketchy. And, you know, part of it is like tight up against the wall, and then you've got like this little drop right there. And it doesn't look like a bunch, but it'd be more than enough to roll you over and ruin your day, and or suck you in backwards. If you didn't, like, if you lose the front tire, you're probably rolling, and if you lose the back one, you maybe just slip the whole back end around and then down off that edge down in there. But it's like, no matter what, it's like, you gotta just take your time. So I'm a little pokey right here. Jill's got her head out the window telling me how close I can be to that wall and if I have any room, and I got my head out the window on my side, kind of watching the tires. And even though I know I have some room, there's like there's a dip in there where it's like, because it's not even, so even though it gets super narrow there, that dip kind of makes you feel like it's extra sketchy because it's right next to the edge. And then you just never know, like, is it going to be your turn, like when the rock decides, okay, this side needs to give out just a little bit, and then a little chunk breaks off, and then there goes your Jeep. So, well, anyway, I just take my time, just make sure we don't screw up, and if it feels like it's about to go sideways on me, I'm mentally prepared to hit the gas and launch the Jeep across before it can go down into that hole, because the last thing I want to do is roll it, especially in that canyon. So I don't know, I don't like it when it's super tight like that on an edge, and then a little bit of tip in it. But we made it through, and that's nice. And then it's like, okay, we're out here, starting to feel like, oh yeah, this might be the end. We're kind of feeling like we're getting to an exit. It's an exit, right? And at this point, I'm starting to feel like, hey, maybe it is the exit, because, you know, you can see I sped up just a little bit. And look at this. This is kind of have that greenish gray or whatever kind of dirt on the one side. Then you got the bright orange and little dark burgundy red. Just climb up over this thing. To see it on the TV. Right now I'm doing all this on my iPhone. Another time back I couldn't imagine doing this on a phone. Damn laptop couldn't hardly handle it, and it's like, here I am doing it on my iPhone. I have a much smaller screen to look at, but it's amazing that it can do it. Especially this, you sit there and think it's like 38 minutes long. You know, I've done some up to like 2-3 hours long, 4 hours I think is the longest. On the phone. I mean, it's just crazy. See the mine tailing pile there. All the material they had that didn't have gold in it. Or whatever they were mining. I'm not sure. I just assume gold always. Unless I see a lot of copper or something around. There's a name or somebody says something or a note somewhere. But who the heck knows what they were really mining? Like we're getting to the end here. That was such a pretty day. One last little feature here to get the heart racing. Looks like we did pretty good. The Jeep just barely fits, so that's nice. That's the end of Odessa Canyon, pretty much. See a little trail joined up. Yeah, I really like that trail. It was challenging, a little nerve-wracking, but it was a good trail. Yeah, when I say the end of Odessa Canyon, that's of that trail. That just the end of the difficult part there. It still goes on for a bunch. Okay, so these are that little mine area that's in the front of Odessa Canyon, and when you're coming into Odessa, it'll be on the left-hand side. Kind of just make a left-hand turn, go to the last one, or just cut up and then go through, depending on how many people are there. You can see like an ATV or a quad and dirt bikes running around at this. All the easy section is going to be loaded with UTVs and Razors, Polaris, Can-Ams, all those things are going to be racing around, dirt bikes, all the easy sections. But yep, just come up, just keep an eye out for all the mines sticking out on the left-hand side, on the side of the hill, and then look for these tunnels. There's a couple tunnels for you to drive through, which are kind of neat. And just fit. I'm on 37s with a 3.5-inch lift, and I just fit. And this guy just decided to park there. Nice enough, said hi, but there you go. But that's my Odessa Canyon video. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, that's awesome. And see you sometime in the future. Thanks.